Hello, everyone. Scribbiny and Tina. Welcome to the live.
Hello.
We like to do this as much as possible and often as we can so we can stay in a loop with you guys so you guys can see what we're up to and see what you guys are up to.
Yes.
Hope you guys had a wonderful day and your day's great and that you guys are in good health.
Yes.
And that you, food in the fridge, money in the bank, and all these good things that we need to survive in this crazy world that we live in.
Amen. It's crazy, all right. I'll tell you that.
So as you guys come in, let us know where you're
Who's
from
here?
or
Yeah.
who's here. And thumbs up, and we'll get this conversation started here in a few minutes.
Yeah. And the reason I wanted to do the live was because, just so I can tell you guys, the reasoning behind it was that we released a really, I would say, very personal for you video last Friday.
Right.
On your family, your upbringing, things like that. So I wanted to see what people thought about that video. We have gotten a lot of comments. I mean, good, not bad. But comments about people who have related to what happened. And what you talked about and your life and your upbringing, because a lot of us have had things like that and we just don't talk about it.
Well, a lot of people that haven't been through it can't relate to it because they haven't been through it. But someone that's been through it, then you can relate to it. And basically what this conversation is about is how you was chastised when you were younger, coming up. And I could see if I went and I stole a car. Or I could see if I went and I stole somebody's gun and I shot 2 or 3 people. If this was just normal, everyday stuff, as a child coming up, in the hood and everything like that. And I was talking with Tina about this and asking her, what would you consider reasonable punishment for a kid? I mean, even for your kids, some of you guys got families, you got kids. What's reasonable punishment for them? Some people say, well, take away the computer, take away their phone, no Instagram, no Twitter, nothing like that. But I got beat by a belt too, and also by a switch. But then the progression went up, and before I know it, I was really, really getting abused. And that's the point that we're talking about here tonight.
Right. So to reiterate what we are talking about, Eddie J just came on and said hi. So hi. Thank you for watching. The thing is that we did a video, like I said, last Friday, and it was about Eric's family, and I called it Family Secrets because for so long people just didn't talk about it, what happened in his family. You guys kept it quiet, and it was never discussed.
Right, because it wasn't a conversation of the day.
Right, exactly.
So it's something you just don't discuss because, for the most part, when somebody's abused, they're kind of embarrassed about it. It's just like somebody that's coming up.
But that's the thing. You think that you should be and like keep telling you this, and I'll keep saying this as a person who also was physically abused as a child. You should never be embarrassed. The embarrassment is not for you to carry. The embarrassment is for the person that inflicted it on you. It's not yours. You see what I'm saying? You didn't do anything wrong. You were a little child. No child comes to this earth, is raised by either like you, a family member, it wasn't your mother, or your parents, and think, well, I deserve to get beat every day. I deserve to get treated like this every day. No.
But the person
it wasn't your embarrassment.
And you're really, really right, because sometimes you beat, knocked down, when you coming up, you grow up with that in your head. It's like, wow.
Now you think it's normal.
You think it's normal.
Yeah.
I'm always done like this, and this is just gonna be my life. And that's kind of sends a message, because basically when a person abused, it's to me it seems like it's just a one-sided story. A lot of time I didn't get a chance to speak how I really felt and why was I getting abused. Why are you doing this to me? Okay, it was just, well, I'm over you and you did this and you're gonna pay the price for it.
Right.
It was only a one-sided conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. And I like I said sometimes children can't speak up and children aren't listened to. And so it needs to be the conversation that we're having at homes. We need to be having these conversations about how we were treated, because sometimes You act a certain way with your kids and they don't understand why you're the way you are. Like with me, I became super overprotective about who was around my kids. And my kids used to just think I was a helicopter mom. But in reality, it's that I didn't want anyone to abuse my kids because my father abused me, and then my father abused my son, and then I had to part ways with my father because he almost broke my son's arm, and he had beat me my whole life. So it's like you have to watch out, and you get this in your head, and then the kids get a little older because when it happened to Chris, he was so young, he doesn't really remember it. And so then he gets older and he's like, why do you never let me go anywhere? Why do you never let me spend the night in my friends' houses and things like that? And I'm like, because adults, if I don't know them, even when I do know them, I don't trust them. And that's why. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't have the conversation, and I don't think you really, did you ever tell your boys?
No, because when I raised my kids, I said, this one thing about my family, I said, I will not, this is the thing that I don't want to do. I will not raise my two boys the way that I was raised.
Right.
This is what
But
not
sometimes
to do.
you overcorrect too. So
Yeah, sometimes you overcorrect, sometimes, but
you become too lenient.
I beat him with the belt, I spanked him with the belt, but I didn't
Beat him.
tie him up,
Right.
And the second part is that my older sister was to put our heads between her legs and cross her legs so we couldn't escape, and then she get the wailing on us.
Oh, yeah.
So now you it's like you in locks like Paul and Silas was, and you're in stocks and you can't get out, you can't budge.
So,
and as a young kid, I could have broke my neck.
Right. Oh, and things
what
like
I'm saying?
that. That's
I
how
could
a
have
lot
broke
of
my
things
neck,
happen.
and then when you break your neck,
Right.
then you die. Now they got a
It's
white sheet for you. Now they're calling the corner, and we'll be like, coulda, shoulda,
that
woulda.
happens to certain parents, and then they're like, "Well, I didn't mean to kill the kid. I was just, disciplining them." That's what they say. But the thing is also that, another reason why we have to have these discussions, with what happened to us in childhood is so that people could learn how, and a lot of you guys said in your comments that you related because it's also happened to them. So if we don't get the dialogue going on how can we break
That cycle.
yes, sometimes it continues. You see what I'm saying? And then you're abusing your children abuse their children, or God forbid the grandparents are still abusing the grandkids. Like the cycle just keeps repeating itself. And it's like people don't want to have, because it's an uncomfortable conversation. I'm sure there's going to be people that tune into this and go, and they tune out because it's uncomfortable or they can't relate. But I can guarantee you that you all know somebody that, especially around our ages, I don't know how old everybody is that's watching, but in the 60s, 70s, people in 80s, they were laying into their kids. They was getting them ass beatings. So you either got them or you knew a friend who was getting them constantly. We know somebody. It may not have happened to you, but maybe it did, and you just never said anything. Because you go to your other friends' houses who seem like they have a happy, normal life, and you're just like, you get quiet, like you said, you clam up and not say nothing because it doesn't seem like anybody's living the hell you're living.
Well, to me, it also seemed like a form of violence.
It is violence.
And
it absolutely is violence.
And what we will hear is, well, my grandfather chastised me this way, and my grandma chastised, so we just pass it on to, because that's all we know. We pass it on down to the family.
Yep.
But if it's abuse, then they were wrong too.
Yeah.
And so when is the cycle going to ever stop?
Right.
From the whole situation, because you go from generation to generation, now you got generational abuse.
Right. But like I always say, you can always stop it. I don't care how old you are. You can stop it now. If you didn't stop it when you had kids, I chose to stop it when I had kids. Now, did my kids not get beat? No, they got their butts whooped when they did wrong, because they knew when they did wrong. But did I beat them senseless or unconscious like my father did me, or like my grandfather did to my father? No, right. I don't do anything like that. I didn't do anything like that. But you learn the parameters or the buttons and when to take that time out, because maybe it's getting a little out of hand, or worse, you do like me, which one time I did spank the kids, and then I took a hard look because I was like, my God, I just turned into my dad, and I don't want to be like that.
Because I have if you guys notice, I have a black triangle with white letters. And this word right here in Spanish means free.
Yes.
And I'm free tonight because I'm not back in the day the way I used to be. And I get chastised, and I felt like, not like I was a human being. I felt like a slave.
Right.
You know, and the punishment and everything else that went along with that. And it was just a terrible spot to be in as a kid and as a child.
Yeah. You were given that by a viewer.
Yeah, I was given a black one and a white one.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure he didn't know the context of him was free, like free from the U.S. and free from this and that. But it can hold so many different meanings depending on what you went through.
Yes, it can.
I think so. Thank you for the shirts. He wears them all the
Thank
time.
you very much. I got a white one too, with black letters.
Yes,
and
I
it's
remember
tonight,
when
man,
he
with
gave
black
them to you.
So it really means a lot. But it is our desire and our goal, me as a parent when I was coming up, not to abuse my kids. I mean, and you know, you have to be a little hard on boys and you are with girls, but
I
we
don't know,
want
my girl's hard-headed.
Well, you know, kids are hard-headed these days. But what we're going to do, we're going to kill them because for the most part,
I'm just saying.
for the most part, kids now are starting to call the police on their parents.
Yep, for every little thing.
Because now some kids are just really rotten. They're really rotten. They got these boot camps for them, all this kind of stuff. But some kids, you know, hey, but you do the best you can as a parent because you don't want that to be in your head, in your mind.
Your conscience.
And your conscience, because you'll say, is this my fault that this kid turned the way that this kid is?
And it's surprising that you didn't turn out like that because, like I said, sometimes it is so ingrained and has damaged you so much that you end up, as much as you hated the abuse, you then become the abuser, unfortunately, normally. And that's why I said in the video, so I hope and I pray that you guys have seen this video. If not, go back and watch the video. It was last Friday, but go back and watch it. It's about Eric's. It's called Family Secrets. I really honestly did not know what else to call it. I've been begging you to, because we are, like I said, in this channel, we strive for transparency.
There you go.
We are always very open about everything. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it can't be really what you guys say it is. If it sucks, we'll tell you it sucks. If it was good, we'll tell you it was good. If it was hard, we'll tell you why it was hard. You know, we made mistakes. I've said a million times on a million videos, we make the mistakes so you guys don't have to. We strive for that transparency, but a lot of people were kept asking, and the most asked question when we do consultations and when we did meet and greets is not something about moving or relocation. They really want to know more about you.
Right.
And they always ask, what's your story? Eric, tell me about yourself. What's your story? And Eric has been very tight-lipped and very quiet. He'll say, oh, I served in the military. You know, the stuff you guys see in the videos. I served in the military, you know. I worked a billion years on my job. You know, I lived in the Dominican Republic. I now live in Portugal. Oh, what about that free, you know, health care? Oh, it's great. You know, he'll divert it. He'll change it. He never gets very deep. A couple of you that have become really like family know you deeper and know you better and have had long dinners and you've been to our home and you text back and forth with him. You're more open with some of them, but even some of them don't know the whole story about what happened to you in your life. And that's why I really am happy that you finally agreed. And that is not the only video. We have another one coming up in the next week. Wanted to give you a little bit of more of what we do on the channel, which that's why this Friday, yesterday, we released the video about, you know, traveling in Europe. So while you're here, make sure to give us a thumbs up because, you know, that helps the channel out a lot. We appreciate it. And if you're here and you want to drop a comment later on, if you're watching this, or if you want to chat now, and you want to talk to us, ask us a question, ask you a question about either of the videos, but we're hoping that we really bring a little bit of light to abuse.
Right. And, you know, I just rather talk about it, you know, because...
You are not alone, like the one song. You are not alone.
I can write a book. You are not alone. But, yeah, have you noticed, ever since this year came in, this has been a year of transparency, and also it's been a year so far of exposure. Because if you look on the news, you'll see people that you looked up to, and come to find out, they got some really, really dark secrets.
Right.
And because they didn't come out with it, or they didn't repent, or whatever it may be, now they're being exposed. Because some people, even when they find out that they're wrong, they won't come out and say, well, you know what? Well, I did this, I did that. I didn't dot this I and cross this T. Instead of being transparent, they'll just continue to be in denial. Then it's got to go to the next level. And then when you find out who the person really is, you ain't gonna like that person.
Yeah. To me, I feel like you're the reverse. You're so happy. That's why I said in the video, I was like, and in part 2 that you guys will see in a week or so, you're so positive, and you've always reached to God, no matter what, that you would never think that you went through the horrors and the hell that you went through. Because most people, if they go through that, they go into a deep, dark depression, and it's really hard to get them out. And you can see the scars, and they look exactly like what they've been through. Like, you can tell they've been through something. You ever seen those people, and you look at them and you go, I don't know what it is, but they've been through something. They look like it. You know what I'm saying? And I think it is the grace of God that really kept his hand on you through it all. Because if you guys keep on watching and you keep hearing, I would love to say it ends beautifully, because obviously we're here.
There you go.
But the story is going to get a little deeper. It's going to get a little darker. So cringe warning now. It's going to get a little harder to hear for those that have been through it. Jose just chimed in, said adverse situations, family situations, and in general are ups and downs in our life. But more important, God's love made you the example you are. And he said, thanks for sharing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And it really was. God's really the only one that really kept me through a lot of this stuff, because I was on my own at the age of 16. I was pretty much on my own, trying to figure out this thing called life. And there's a lot of stuff that happened, a lot of stuff that went on, and you just learn to live. And I guess as a young man growing to a mature man, I learned to take the bitter with the sweet, and not to hold it against the people that did this to me or said kind of mean things against me. But also, in this whole thing, is that I don't like violence, and I'm not a confrontational person.
Yes, because that's what I told you. Yes, I said there's always 2 roads, right? The road will have a fork in it, and some people will go left where violence becomes very prevalent in their life. That's me. I grew up a fighter. When you have to fight the man that was supposed to protect and love you, you learn that everybody will fight you, anybody. So I didn't trust nobody. I was quick with them hands. Like, that's all I knew. Plus, I grew up in a rough neighborhood. So it's like, I went one way, right? And then I see you. That's why I didn't think you would ever have been on any path that would ever have been equal to me before it split, because you were the other way. You don't like violence. You don't like to raise your voice. You don't like confrontation. You will try to mediate and say, choose love, choose God. You're always like that. And I'm always looking at you like, beat them. Like, they deserve it. But I guess opposites attract. So when everybody's like, why are they together? There you go. Opposites must attract.
Because you're kind of a little different when
yes,
it comes
I'm loud.
to
Yes, I know.
Right. But
you're calm. You are. You never choose. I've never. And that's what. But then to your, I would say this to your character, that also I've never met anybody that's met you that doesn't say that they didn't like you. Right. And that you weren't a really loving soul.
And that's the truth. That's a true fact.
That's true.
But I had to also, in the process, in this whole this journey, this life called journey, I've had to let a lot of people go. I'm talking about family members.
Yes.
A lot of people, I just had to let them go and say, you know what? You're confrontational. You like a lot of stuff. I'll see you when I see you.
Oh, yeah.
And I give a long distance.
Can't you guys relate to that, right? You all have probably somebody that you've come in contact with, whether it was a friend, a family member, maybe somebody you worked with, somebody that they love the drama, they love the confrontation, they love causing trouble, they love to get ish started. And when you're so sick of it, I call them vampires, because they come in and they just suck the life and the joy out of you, out of every situation.
It's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, and you just got to be like, look, you bit me enough. You ain't about to turn me into no vampire. I got to cut you loose. I can't take it no more.
I mean, I hate to say this, but you know what? I've had family members that came to my house and steal from me. I mean, TV, jewelry. I just let them come in my house.
Liquor at our wedding.
They stole stuff, and I was like,
Yeah.
it should be a safe environment when your family is amongst you.
Yeah.
I couldn't even have a holiday right now because they're either talking about me behind my back or it can end up being a fight and you got to call the cops. So it's just really terrible how families are these days. All family ain't loving. Now, some of you guys that got very loving families. You're blessed.
Yes.
I wasn't fortunate enough to have that. And I thank God now that I do, because this is love right here. And our family, this is the most love I've ever felt my whole life, to tell you the truth. Everything else was... When somebody show you who they are, believe it.
Yeah.
And when people don't have to be nice to you no more, what the saying you always say?
Yeah. You find out who people are when they don't have to be nice to you anymore.
And boy, I got a cut in the throat on that one right there.
Yes.
I got my throat sliced on that one.
But that also shows that you're a good person, because like my 3 kids, they'll lay their life down for you. You know that. They'll fight your own family members. They love you so much. They're the only 3 kids I've ever had in my whole life that will be like that. Because I tell you what, the other ones, I'll never hear from them. So
that's just gossip.
So one of the reasons, because we did say, somebody said, why did you do the video? And you're trying to get views, whatever. It got deleted. But the reason, because I'll delete.
It's not about the views.
Listen, because I'm the evil one.
It's about the experience.
I'll delete a dumbass message like that.
Ain't about the views.
Exactly. The reason that he did the video, honestly, was because I feel like you're more freer to talk now that your mother has passed on, because you never wanted to upset your mother. You loved her to death.
Right.
And your mother's one wish always was that all of you all got along, all the siblings, no matter what. She always wanted that. It was impossible. God bless her. She was a heavenly, saintly woman who thought that it could exist and it could happen, but it's just not possible. But I feel like that also freed you up to be able to talk about it. And because people really, like Jose and his beautiful wife said, we want to get to know you, and, you should really share, your story. And you start thinking about it. And I said, I've been telling you, boy, people, because I really feel that that's how you break them chains of guilt and shame and secrecy, all that shit. If you hide it in a corner, it's like an evil demon, and it gets bigger and bigger in the shadows. And the minute that you break that free is when you free yourself and you tell the truth and you talk that's your truth. That's your life. Nobody knows it but you.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. When I really, really got free is when I enlisted in the United States Army years ago. And I had a chance to leave that horrible city. Okay?
But is leaving it getting over it?
Okay, it's not getting over it because it stays with you.
Right.
But at least I left the atmosphere of it. At least I left the atmosphere of it. And I was able to start now my whole life, making my own decisions and my own choices and things like that. And then I had to worry about being beat down by the people that was close to me. That's the main thing. Because it's one thing to be disciplined. It's one thing to discipline, but it's the next thing when it turns into abuse.
Yes.
And that's why we got a lot of stuff going on in this world today, because a lot of these kids, especially kids, are being abused.
But also, there's a lot of us in our 40s, 50s, and 60s right now that as children were highly abused by our parents. Because back then, it was just what was done. And there was no, let's go to a family psychiatrist, a therapist, or this or that. So our parents did not get over all of the issues that they were dealing with from their parents. So then they ended up abusing a lot of us when we were kids. So I really think that you are at the prime age, which right now some people might say, oh, well, if you're already at that age, it's too late. It's never too late. It's never too late to free yourself. It's never too late to unburden yourself. It's never too late to get help. Never. Ever. Yep. It never is. Your life is not over. Okay, it's over when you're in the ground. That's it. But until then, you can change your life. You want to give your life to God? Do it. You want to do good works? Do it. You want to unburden yourself? Do it. You know what I'm saying?
Because God still allows U-turns. And I've heard stories about kids going to school and the teachers and the nurses realize that there's something crazy going on in this kid's home.
Yeah. But a lot of people
They
ignore
see the marks, they ignore it, but they say, well, we don't want to get involved. We don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. And before you know it, you end up the child either run away from home, the child turns to some females, lots of females that ran away from home. They end up prostitutes on the street, strung out on drugs, and they end up dead. Serial killer get a hold of them. I mean, it's just terrible, but it happens.
Yeah. I mean,
it really happens.
Remember, I used to tell you that
the females on the street is a bad thing. To be a female on the street, a guy, yeah, but a female on the street, that's a bad situation.
These days, neither is safe. Honestly,
it's a bad situation for a female. Though.
You used to always see that the kids' friends always used to be at our house, and used to be like, "You always have all these kids. Why?" Because we were always the safe haven. We always had family dinners, and whoever was there had a family dinner just right with us. We have family meetings. They sit sidelines, but they'd watch us all have family meetings to discuss what the issue was or what the problem was or what we were trying to figure ourselves through. And the kids would always be like, wow, you guys talk about things? You guys have dinners together? What? And we're like, yes, we always have family dinner. And even you came to the house and was shocked when we told you, it's time for dinner. You need to come to the table. We have family dinner. And you were like, you guys have family dinner? I'm like, yeah, don't you?
Because we never had this when I was coming up. The only time we got together as a family is when sometimes we eat, and that was rare, far and few. But most times,
like a holiday.
If somebody do something wrong, we got to have a conversation. Everybody got to get together. You did this, you did that, you did that. We're going to have us a beating match. Everybody's getting the beating. Everybody's getting the beating.
Well, with your family, the only time I saw them was holidays. They didn't meet up for nothing else. You guys didn't meet up for dinners or Sundays. I was used to having Sunday dinners and stuff like that.
We kind of lost the family reunion thing. Once I went in the military, that got like far and distant from me. That's why I see a lot of my relatives. I'm seeing who had kids, all this kind of stuff. I'm finding this stuff out on Facebook. Because I ain't been to family reunion since George Washington crossed the Delaware River.
So we want to hear from you guys, and you don't feel free if you want to go into details. Some people have not. But if you have gone through things like this, share. Because I'll tell you, it's good to hear stories, especially it is for me, because I know what I went through. I know what you've been through, or at least how much you've told me and I've told you. And it's like you always think you're alone, and you always think it only happened to you. And then when you hear people say, like, don't give up, and I'm glad you're sharing, and yes, this happened to me also. It kind of solidified. Almost like you guys become a tight little community because that's what we need. You know what I'm saying? We need to all come together. We weren't alone. More people than you would ever admit or even think of have been or gone through some type of abuse, whether it's mental, physical, sexual. Sometimes, I hate to say it, the whole trio of abuse, so you need each other. Right. You need a village of people now. If you don't want to get into some type of therapy, at least have somebody that you can confide or talk to. I would suggest, like I always try to suggest that you get a little therapy, get some help. It's never too late for it, because the life you might save may be your own.
There you go. Just like Smokey Bear used to say that.
Didn't you feel better after you shared with those videos? I mean, they haven't seen all the videos because clearly we haven't released them all. But we have released the one. The second one's getting ready to get released. But didn't you feel a little lighter by sharing that?
I felt a little lighter, as I begin to share. But it's still painful.
Yes, it brings stuff up.
The brain and stuff is really,
That's
really
what
so
you said,
painful.
yeah.
And every now and then I get kind of teary-eyed because I look at all of my siblings and I see I have still one of my brothers that's really damaged from the whole experience. He'll never be right again in his mind. Something just snapped. And he'll never be right again as long as he stays on this earth.
Yes.
And that really bothers me to see my brother like that because that could have been me.
Yeah.
Even though I still share. It's almost like being in a war.
Yep. PTSD.
It's like
yes.
being in a war.
Absolutely, I
with
agree.
your family and with your situation that you have to deal with, not eating the right foods, not being taking care of yourself, and
Yeah.
it was just a lot of stuff that really went on during that time.
I agree.
You know, that I'm really, really, you know, and I didn't think that this right here was possible. I didn't think a normal family was possible. I never thought it because I wasn't shown that. I thought all families,
I thought so too.
family lives was in disarray. It was all going to hell out the window and handbasket going in the garbage. I never thought that this existed right here until I finally experienced it myself. I tried to do it in the first marriage. And everything went good for a while, and after that, things started going to hell. And you know, it's just, this is different.
And just me, that I by no means am a therapist or know anything about this, but I will tell you this, that sometimes people who have not been through things like that can't relate. So I say that from experience, because my first husband, the ex, has parents who are still alive and still married. So he couldn't relate to the way my parents were, the way my parents treated me, the things that I went through. He used to always be like, well, it can't be that bad. I feel like you're over exaggerating, or you couldn't suck it up. Suck it up, you're an adult now. It's like people like that sometimes. So maybe your wife is just ill-equipped to understand and to relate to what you really needed, because people like us, we need different things.
Right, that's true.
We do. We need different, like I can relate sometimes, like when you're sad or hurt by the way people treat you. Well, I realize it's because you're thinking about how you've been treated before, and some people can't. So that's another reason why people have to talk with each other and share. And when you guys have that support system like that, you know, sometimes the marriages last, and when they don't, they fail. And we know a lot of people that are relocating to other countries now because everything went to shit. Hell in a handbasket with the first marriage, and now they have less than what they planned on in retirement, right? And they're trying to rebuild their lives, and they just want to be happy. And then they come and they move to another country because it's beautiful. They feel more at peace, right?
And it's been more family time.
And then they
family atmosphere here.
Get different family, because sometimes it's not the family that you have, it's the family you choose.
There you go.
Real quick, Nana's on here. She said, nice to see you both, but I have a small correction. Yep, she said, family is not always blood related. We're all coming with a little bit of PTSD. You got that right.
And now, like we always say, blood ain't always thicker than water.
You got that right.
It really ain't. I mean, it sounds good on paper, but in the real life, sometimes families can be a battlefield. It can be one of the biggest battles that there's some people that never talk to their mother. There's some people that never talk to their father. There's some people that never talk to their brother. So don't talk to them, period. Don't want to deal with them. Go to the other side of the street. They just, that blockage, that wall is up.
It's me.
We can't do them. Because, I mean, sometimes families just drama. It's just like a soap opera.
And it's painful. And it never,
yeah,
it's like a hamster wheel. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I feel like
always something.
If I want to get on a hamster wheel, or if I just want to keep going in a circle and end up exactly where I started in another week, I could just keep on with these people. But that's how they say, you know, what do they say? Something is thinking that something's going to change and it doesn't. Like
don't change
insanity. Insanity is, thinking something's going to change, but you're doing the same thing all the time. I can't deal with people like that. It drives me insane. It drives me crazy. I can't do it.
I had a brother that charged me for rent. He stayed with me for free when he came moving.
He's still alive. You have
He's still alive.
Who once charged
me. When I got into a situation that I need somewhere to go, okay, went to my divorce, I need somewhere to stay instead of going to a hotel paying some money. Wanted to stay with him. He charged me for rent.
Right.
Now,
Instead of helping,
he charged me for rent, and I got to pay such over $1,000 a month, okay, then for a room, and if he's gonna cook for me, that's even another couple $100 a month for groceries. Then if I want to park my car in the garage, that's another couple $100. So I was like, well, you know, if I gotta do this, I might just go out there and get my own apartment and do my own thing, and that's what I ended up doing. Right. But he couldn't see it that way. But I let him stay with me for free, but my own brother charging me for rent.
Right.
Now I don't mind helping out, groceries. I ain't no cheapskate now. I carry my weight in gold. That's not a problem. I'm helping my brother out. But don't do me Because I didn't ask you for a dime when you stayed with me.
Right. But they say
Not one dime.
You can't expect people to have the heart that you have and to treat you the way you would treat people. Because when you expect that out of people, you'll always be let down.
Yeah, but I always believe the whole good book. Do unto others as you will have them to do unto you.
True.
Because you never know what you're going to need.
True, but...
You never know you're going to need a favor or something like that one day.
Right.
And I always tell my 2 boys, I told them that. Don't burn bridges. Because when you burn a bridge, you got to remember, that same bridge that you burn, you got to go back over.
Yeah, exactly.
My mother always told me this part. Don't miss the water. You don't miss the water until the well runs dry. So once that well runs dry and you can't get no water, guess what? You got to go somewhere else to try to find some water. Yep. That's how life is. It's like a revolving door.
Mm-hmm. And Jose said, when haunted by families, rude reactions, and indifference, I take a full stop and ask, what would God do? Yeah, yep. Sometimes God tells me, girl, run out that room and go find another room to go sit in. Just can't take it. That's just me. That's, sometimes you just need that break. You just say, I love you, but I love you from a distance, that AT&T long distance love. But like we said, you got to keep watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I really hope and I pray, as I always do, that, what we've been through, what you've been through, sharing your life will truly help somebody to maybe change the way or the situation that they went through or they're going through. I hope that it helps. I hope that people keep watching, because there's going to probably be about 3 or 4 videos in that series. But we are going to break it up with still information. And of course some of our trips, because I didn't get to do all. So we got another Greece video coming out too, of some of the other islands that we went to and the things that we did. We still want to keep doing what we do, but I still, and I don't care who writes what, I still think it's important to get out there your story. Because honestly, you guys watch people, you want to believe in what they say, but how can you believe in somebody you don't know about?
That's true.
That's true. So with that.
So what's that? You don't know my story until you hear it.
Exactly.
So in the meantime, between the time, always remember that life was always meant to be enjoyed and not destroyed.
Yes. Amen to that. So if you haven't, like I said, and you're watching this and you're kind of confused, go back, watch the video from last Friday. It'll clear it all up. You'll understand then. And look forward, I hope, to the video next. That will be part 2, where he starts talking about, we stop at a certain age and you can take from there and explain more about your life and the struggles and the things you've been through. But we also have another one after that. And I hope you enjoy the videos in between. But as always, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe. Give this and all videos a thumbs up, because it really does help that algorithm. Please comment. I really do want to hear about you guys and what you're going through, and if you enjoyed the videos. And I want to keep him encouraged. So if you could drop it into the comments, so comment like always, and make sure to hit that notification bell if you'd like to get notified when we go live like this or on other videos.
So, till next video, peace and love.